Okay, good morning to everybody. Good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing? How is the reading going? How is the reading going? Going okay. Okay, welcome to week 2. Is there anybody who was not here last week? Can you show me a hand? Anybody? That's a lot of people. Right. So last week we dealt with an introduction where we covered a whole set of stuff. So at least I think I recorded it, so I'll upload it. So we can't go through all now. I'll just give a brief summary, but I'll upload the video. The weekend was challenging. My mom was ill and had to be hospitalized, so that's why I couldn't upload it. So for those who are here for the first time, who missed the lecture last week, welcome to Business Strategy and Policy. So today we're going to look at the external environment, but in doing that we'll do a quick review from last week. So there are just about 4 or 5 key points I will reiterate for you. One, this course is not a difficult course, okay? It's not a hard course, and it is a capstone course for final year students. That's what it is designed for. So it's really like putting the icing on the cake. So a lot of the concepts from introduction to management, finance, accounting, HR, OD, marketing in particular, a lot of these concepts will be utilizing the course, and these were separate courses. So obviously I can't teach them over. So it means that you will need to do a lot of revision in refreshing your memories about what is involved or what are some of the key concepts from these previous courses. And the other point I want to make is that to succeed in this course, you need to move away from the old paradigm of waiting until the end of semester to begin to study for your exam. It is not a rote course, meaning you don't just read the text and read notes and pass this course. Right? So if you, in previous courses, just waited for the end of semester and you crammed, you're going to have some challenges. As I said, because it is a capstone course, we use a lot of application of concepts. So in other words, if you're looking at, if you did financial ratio analysis and financial management, we are not so interested in whether you can calculate a ratio, that you can tell me what is the formula for a current or quick ratio, your current assets or your current liabilities, or your move your inventory. You now need to understand how the ratio works, but you now need to apply it. Analyze it and apply it in a business context, which takes it to another level. So I'm aware a lot of students did financial ratio analysis and you calculate the ratios and you say what you're all about. We are taking it to another level. So it means you need to practice and practice and practice a lot. Right? So the most important reading time period for this course to do well, for the first 6 to 7 weeks, you need to read pretty intensely. For the first 4 weeks, we're going to build the foundation, going back to a number of the old concepts. And I mean intensely, that's your most intense time for studying, particularly when you have to present your cases. And by this weekend, I'm going to upload the cases. But the case presentations require you to have a pretty sound knowledge of a lot of key concepts in business strategy and policy. So I just want to tell you that from last week, you really should be studying and revising quite intensely. Not likely, very intensely. The other thing about the course is that statistics show, and as I said, I'm summarizing from last week, the statistics show that most students who pass this course will pass very well. Right? Most students who do this course will get A pluses, A's, A minus, B plus, and B minus. Maybe about 1 or 2% of C's are allocated. Very few students get C in this course. But the failure rate for me is relatively high. Based on the last 7 to 8 years, about 23 to 24% of students have failed the course. But they said once you pass, you will get a very good grade, B and up. So that's why I said it's not a difficult course, hence so many students do very well. But the students who I suspect are fail are those who follow your paradigm. You come to class, you go to tutorials unprepared, and you don't really get involved in group presentation, and you wait to the last minute to cram, but it is not a cramming course. In the exam, you are playing the role of consultant. That's your role in the exam. You're a consultant, and you're advising companies, so you wouldn't find the answers to the questions in the textbook. So just reading notes will not allow you to pass. You can read every note and memorize it. It is not memorizing that will help you to do well. It is the application and understanding of concepts to be able to apply. So I just want to say that to refresh you. The other thing, what we do, as I said, repeating for the first 4 weeks or so, is really doing some revision, introducing a few new concepts to build our foundation for strategy. So this model of the environmental business, simple model, but it's a model that all students should know very well by now. And there are some associated concepts, the pestle analysis, SWOT analysis, and five forces analysis. These are concepts or tools that you should know. We touched on it last week, so we'll test you this morning to make sure that you have been taking my suggestions. So today we want to be able, we'll do a quick review, but we're going to look at the concept of the resource-based view versus the industrial and organization view. And these two concepts are critical to building our foundation for the house of strategy. We'll go back to the external forces. We'll look at competitive forces in the review. And then look at two key tools today, which will be the EFE and the CPM. The EFE stands for the External Factor Evaluation Matrix, and the CPM Competitive Profile Matrix. So the external factors, so everybody knows the pestle analysis. Somebody can tell me what are these factors all about? Pestle analysis involves in the external environment. Yes? Lady in the back. Pestle analysis, what is involved in pestle analysis? What are you looking for? The political element. Environmental covers everything. Sorry? Right, you have the economic, technology. What else? Somebody help her. Social and cultural. The legal, we forgot the legal. So why is it important to analyze these forces? Anybody?
To see the impact of the business.
So why is that important?
You have to know how to respond to the changes in the environment based on the factors that would be impacting on the firm.
So why is that important? What's the bottom line of doing that?
To make a profit, maximize shareholders, goal, all of that.
So how would analyzing this environment, political, economic, social factors eventually lead to a profit?
It will determine what your business is. What are you giving to the public? What are you selling? What are you selling? How can you minimize costs, maximize sales?
Excellent. So folks who didn't come last week, I don't lecture to anybody. That's for undergrad, first year and second year. In this course, I said undergrad, first year and second year. But for final year in strategy, we come around, we interactive, so I don't lecture at you. We have interactive discussion, which means that every week you need to come prepared for the topic. And then I give you little assignments, little tools and techniques that you study, and that's how you learn to apply the concepts, and that's how students do well in this course. Right? So I don't talk at you. In fact, all the notes for the semester are already uploaded in eLearning. All, every single note, even videos from last semester that are uploaded. So you can look at those things and read those stuff. So I don't have to come and give you stuff that is already there. I want to find out you have read, understand, and then you're going to have interactive discussions, and I will then give you the assistance in knowing how to apply these concepts that you do very well. And also in the external environment, in that green band, you have what are called the competitive forces. So can somebody tell me why analysis of these competitive forces is so important, sir? Why is the analysis of competitive forces so important? Want me to come back?
Because if you analyze the competitive forces, then you will know how to adapt your business to your competitor. You will know if they're selling cheaper than you, more expensive, more areas, a different product, etc.
So tell us some of the key forces in the environment that Porter suggests we look at. I think you know what to tell us.
New entrance, competitive rivalry, I think.
One more.
Substitution.
Substitutes, what are the two critical ones she didn't mention? She's very correct. The other two?
Suppliers.
So why is it important to look at bargaining power of customers, of suppliers and buyers?
Because at the end of the day, they work out in terms of demand and supply, so you have to make sure you have a product that your customers want, and then at the same time as a supplier, you must be able to supply what the market wants.
So if the supplier has bargaining power, what gives the supplier bargaining power?
You gotta pass that on.
So what gives the supplier bargaining power? And these are concepts that are critical to the course.
Insurance.
What gives the supplier bargaining power?
Competition. If the supplier doesn't have competition, is it so?
And you were saying, somebody said, right, if you are the only supplier, which also can be called if you don't have any other competitors as a supplier, it gives you bargaining power. So then the supplier, I haven't dealt with this side yet, you only dealt with one person here. So this side has excellent responses so far. So if the supplier has bargaining power, what does that mean? Say you don't have a lot of competition, so why is the bargaining power high?
Because they can raise their prices and they don't have anybody to compete with.
Excellent. They can determine next week, I want to increase my revenues, I'm going to increase my price by 10%. So what can the buyers do? Nothing. Especially when there's one or two who collaborate. So all they have to do is increase prices, and then you have to respond. Because if you don't respond, what is likely to happen?
You want to have, okay, if you are providing a certain quality of product and the supplier has bargaining power, then you don't have to change your model and then you have to make changes to your strategy.
Excellent. So if you depend on the supplier for particular quality material and the price goes up, you can't afford to buy it, you really need to change. But suppose your customers, that's what they want.
Then you might have to sacrifice profit.
You either have to pass on the cost or find ways to reducing the property, the employees' wages, stuff like that.
Which is part of reducing costs. Excellent. Or there's a marketing concept we call it the integration strategies. What integration strategy should I consider? I say I want to get a big loan. What integration strategy can I pursue to take control of my supply costs? What integration strategy can I consider to take control of my supply costs? I go to the bank and they will give me $1 million loan. Anybody? What can I do? It's an integration strategy. Supplier giving me trouble. The bank told me they could lend me millions. What do I do? If you can find a substitute, correct, but it's an integration strategy. You haven't do that strategy yet? What is backward integration? What is backward integration? Sorry? Anybody, what is backward integration?
Backward integration is when you buy the supplier.
So I backward integrate and I buy the supplier. I go to the bank, I get a big loan, and I give them an offer they can't refuse. Your business is valued at $2 million, I'll pay you $3 million. And that's what backward integration is. You buy the supplier, so when you buy the supplier, what have you done? You have taken control of your supply sources, which means, what are the implications to the competitive environment that you're in when you buy the supplier? Your competitors now have to buy their supplies from you. You now become the power broker in the market. Folks, give yourselves a hand. That was excellent responses. I'm impressed. That was excellent. Folks, that is how I do my classes. I don't come and put on the podium and talk at you. Right? That's not my style. Right? If anybody want to get to a podium and tell you things, they can put on notes, they can waste your time. I love it when you do well. I love students to do well. And as you say in your course, once you pass, you will get B and up. I am working on the other group at the bottom, but I don't have control of that. We have to partner. So the other point I'm going to say to you know, folks, this is week 2. Every Tuesday afternoon, I make myself available for students who work and students who don't work. And you have to leave, then I have a class at 6. If from this week or next week you find you're having challenges with the course, come to me. If you want to meet with me one-on-one, I'm prepared to work with you to help you identify where your weaknesses are so you can build your strong foundation. I repeat, if you find you're having challenges in understanding some of the concepts, I make myself available to work with each of you one-on-one outside of the tutorials. You can come one-on-one, we spend a little half hour, and I try to do a diagnostic to help you to get back on course. That sounds reasonable, folks? That sounds reasonable? That sounds reasonable? I'm not hearing you. Okay, so please, it's not about being ashamed that you don't know. Everybody has their strong points and their weak points. What are the 3 phases of strategic management? Strategy formulation, strategy implementation, strategy evaluation. Where will most of this course be? I said it last week in strategy formulation. About 85% of your exam will be on strategy formulation, all the tools and concepts and techniques that you will start with. We already dealt with the key elements of Porter's 5 forces model. You need to know that very, very well. You will not get a question on it, but the concepts will be utilized in other questions you're going to get. So this is stuff from last week. You need to know this basically. What are the external factors? What are the internal factors, etc., etc. So we have the 5 forces. So before we look at the EFE, there are 2 concepts that we want to touch base on. That would be the industrial organization approach, IO, and the resource-based view, RBV. Right? IO, the industrial organization approach, and the RBV, resource-based view. What's your name? I asked you a question last week, correct? I didn't? Well, I'm asking you now. What's your name? Anissa? So Anissa, What's the industrial organization view all about? My friend lady here. Folks, the other thing one of the things that are critical in this course, you need to read ahead. So never come to the lecture or tutorial not having read the materials for that week. Anybody, industrial organization approach? My friend in yellow, industrial organization approach. My guy here, blue shirt. The industrial organization approach says that the external forces or factors are much more important in terms of competitiveness than the internal factors. And if you go back to our model of the environment that I tell you is critical, these are the external factors, the PESO and the 5 forces elements you mentioned. This is the external environment, this is the internal environment of a business. So can somebody tell me, especially those who were here last week, what are the internal factors found within an organization? What are the internal factors quickly? Internal factors are customers internal or external? If you said internal customers, you're talking about the organization. Employees. What else? Internal forces. Managers. What else? Policies, practices, what else? Rules. Remember your OBHR? What else is found in an organization? Company culture, excellent. Excellent. Culture and climate, what else? Your rules, your regulations. So remember, you need to know these things. Employees, management, culture, climate, rules, regulations, policies, structure. All of these things make up the internal environment. So, you need to know this relationship and the factors because, as we said, the IO says the external forces are much more important in terms of gaining competitiveness or competitive advantage, which will be focusing on the political, legal, economic, social, cultural factors, etc. Whereas the resource-based view says, no, we think you should first focus more on the internal forces and then think about the external forces. So the RBV is more focused on the human resource, right? Human capabilities for creativity and innovation are things that can give you competitive advantage, and then you can relate those to the external environment. So Porter and others who are the proponents of the IO argue, no, you focus on all of these external economic and social and cultural and political issues, and then you consider your internal forces. So there are two opposing but symbiotic relationships that you need to know. There are different perspectives of developing strategy. So the RBV proponents might more focus on the staff and staff capabilities and staff development. Right? So these are very important. So the other basic thing I want to review that everybody should know, what differentiates, my friend right here, a vision from a mission? Lady in green. What distinguishes a vision from a mission? When we come back, guy here, what distinguishes a vision from a mission? So folks, these are fundamental concepts from week 1 you really need to know. My friend in the African Dashiki, what distinguishes a vision from a mission? Correct. The vision is this future dream of what you want to become. So Chafet might say we want to be the top #1 fast food chain in Barbados. where the mission is what kind of products and services they will provide in order to achieve this dream or vision to be number one in terms of fast food business. So folks, for next week when I do a test, because every week I'm just testing you on revision every week, so you can't avoid it. So the EFE, the other thing folks, the research has shown, if you want to have things stored in permanent memory, meaning that you remember them, you learn it in weeks 2, 3, or 4, but then coming to exam time, you still remember them. For you to be involved in preparing in advance. In other words, you know there's a lecture today on the EFE and CPN. Your research has found, and this is research, when students prepare in advance a particular subject that they're going to get, and you have knowledge of it, at the end of that class where we have this kind of interaction, students tend to remember things more in permanent memory than if you come here for the first time and you just see it for the first time. Now, there's no sense taking notes because the notes are already, all the notes for the semester are there. The recordings are there. So to be taking notes of something that's already there is just wasting your time. That's why we make it very interactive. So I'm urging you again, folks, if you really want to do that in this course, read ahead. So it means that like today, and I said it last week, so it means a number of students like they haven't believed me, you should have read something about the EFE, and you should have read something about the CPN. So we're going to look at the EFE now, the External Factor Evaluation Matrix. And somebody tell me, what factors, or what tool, let me put it another way, what tool allows us to properly construct an EFE? What's your name? Yes, Russell. What tool allows us to get the necessary data or information to construct an external factor evaluation matrix? That's the fair answer. Guy right in the back in the white hat. What's your name? Yusuf? What would help us to get the appropriate factors to properly construct an EFE? Anybody? Sorry? Sorry? Go ahead. The pest analysis, and then what else is something that you would have to do? SWOT analysis, excellent. Folks, remember we are building a house. You don't start a house from the roof or the walls, you have to secure the foundation. If your foundation is weak, then we get into week 5, 6, and 7 to more complex analysis, it's going to crumble. So these are basic concepts you need to know. So there's a sequential set of steps in strategy. So you do your pestle analysis, and then you do a SWOT. But do you use the whole SWOT, my friend here, for the EFE? Do you use the whole SWOT for the EFE? You look at the strengths and weaknesses? Why it can't be the strengths and weaknesses? Because strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external. So throughout the course, folks, this is what you're going to hear in the saying. Internal factors, external factors. Internal factors, external. Tools that assess internal factors, tools that assess the external. Right? So it cannot be the strengths and weaknesses because they are internal, and we are talking about an external factor evaluation matrix. So in the SWOT, it is the OT of the SWOT. So what we are saying here, when you are doing your cases for presentation, you have to construct these things from scratch. You have to do an EFE from scratch, which means you have to do your pestle analysis. You have to pull out then the major opportunities and the major threats to put into the OT of your SWOT. And then you determine for your EFE which factors are the most important. So in the EFE, you have weights, you have ratings, you have weighted scores, and you have total weighted scores. So let's look at them. So for the ratings in an EFE, a 4 means a superior response, A 3 means an above average response, a 2 means average response, and 1 is a poor response. And I said pay attention to the ratings. So somebody tell me, why would we say responses for the EFE? There's a logical reason why we say responses. Anybody can tell me why? You think there would be responses? Why would you have responses for an EFE? But you need answers. But why responses? Right. So it means then that something is happening to you and you're responding to something that is happening to your business. So, as she said correctly, external things are happening in this environment that could impact on your business. And as a result, for you to survive, you need to respond. So can somebody give me an economic argument to show this whole issue of responses? Can somebody give me an economic argument that speaks to this issue of responses? Yes, sir. You know I'm coming to you. Economic argument about responses.
Because changes in the environment will ultimately impact.
Economic. Use the example of economic factors that would force a company to respond, whether positively or negatively. Want me to come back? You look right.
A tax.
So what about it? Give the example.
Like if the government imposed a tax on a company that could increase them
But
costs,
not a company, we reflect on the industry.
right, on the industry, the company, it will affect them processes, the products might become more expensive for the customers and then they might not buy.
Excellent. So the government imposes a tax. Which aspect of the environment will be with imposing taxes? Is it just government? Look at the model again. Which part of the external environment deals with taxes that would impose taxes? The legal. The government will have to pass a law, which is not a legal factor. And you're correct. So once you increase taxes for corporate businesses or businesses generally, is law. So you can do two things. Follow the law and pay the tax, or what do some companies do? You find loopholes and you evade your taxes. So companies try to do that. So with VAT, how can a company avoid paying VAT? How do companies avoid paying VAT? Anybody? How would a company avoid paying VAT? Who pays the VAT? So how would they avoid it? No. Avoid. Look, I can give you a discount, but do you want a receipt? I will give you a discount, but do you want a receipt? So it's not on the books. It's off books. Once it's on books, the auditors can come and check and verify, or the tax people can audit your books. So you just keep it off books. Give you a discount, but no receipt. And I'm sure you've gone places before where you don't get receipts. So once you don't get a receipt, so you all out here know that. Oh God, you do my job. I think I knew that. Everybody see what we're making here. Right? No. So we have the example of responses, and folks, this is important because when we start to look at the IFP and CPM, the ratings, the interpretation of ratings differ, and some students get them all mixed up. Right? So you need to make a note of this, pay particular attention to the ratings. Right? So folks, ladies and gentlemen, I do what I do because I teach this course and I set the exam. So I'm not wasting your time. What we are doing here is helping you to learn and understand what is necessary to do the analysis that will come down your exam. So you're not wasting time here. So when they come around to you, it is not just because they want to come around to you, it is all part of learning. For you to be able to to show yourself that you can analyze stuff and you can bring your own interpretations, you see. And everybody will come around to you at some point, so you can't dodge. So you need to learn these ratings well and know them well, but know what they mean. So we see, same point you mentioned, economic, social, technical, all of those factors are involved in the EFE. So let's look at how it is constructed. Give me a minute. So you would realize for the EFE for Gateway, you have opportunities which are external, and so you have the force that is found in the external environment from your Pestle analysis and from your SWOT. Then you have a weight. Right? You have a weight column. You have a ratings column, which are the ratings we just looked at. So a 3 means that there is a above average response, and a 1 means that there is a big response. And then we have a weighted score, which is simply multiplying your weight by your rating. And then in the construction of the matrix, you also have threats. And at the end, you see the total weighted score. This is the total weighted score. 2.40, and you know the maximum then would have to be, the maximum score you can get would be 4. Right? Now, there's an interesting thing about the weights. The weights total 1. So when you are constructing your EFE or the cases you present during the semester for marks in your groups, right? You do your iterations, eventually come up with 1. And that's 1 for both opportunities and threats. Now, before we get into identifying specific weights, there is a reason why you put weights to each of the factors and also ratings. So we know the ratings tell you how the company is responding to an external factor. Everybody has that? Everybody has that? But the weights, what do the weights tell you? When you put a weight to the opportunities and a weight to the threats, why do we put weights to these opportunities and threats and then multiply the rating by the weight? Why? Anybody tell me, what do you think?
To show which factors have the greatest impact.
I would give her a hand for that. Give her a hand. Excellent. Right. I would put it in another way, importance, which is similar to what you were saying. So you want to identify, if you had 20 opportunities and threats, 10 opportunities, 10 threats, you want to find out which of these opportunities and which of these threats have greater impact on the business or are most important. I prefer to say which ones are more important, but it's similar to what you're talking about in terms of impact. So somebody tell me again, a way to think. We're all intelligent. My assumption is everybody here is just as intelligent as I am, so you can think just like me. Lady right here. So why is it important to determine the importance or the impact of each of these factors on the company? Why do you think that is important when you're calculating the weighted score and total weighted scores? What's your name? And you can't see what happens. So. It's a long cord to get to students who hide from me. Yes, madam. Why is it important to consider the importance of each of these opportunities and flags?
So that the calculations will be accurate in terms of the impact on the business.
You're 80% right. Yeah, beautiful. Give her a hand for that. Yeah. So it's more than just accurate. So, for example, folks, if I don't put a weight on the factors, I will just have a 3, a 2, and a 1. But it doesn't tell me which one will have the greatest impact. It assumes they're all equal. If I just leave raw numbers, it assumes that all 3 ratings are equal, and all 2 ratings are equal, and all 1 ratings are equal. But let's look here. This got a 2. This got a 1. But this is 0.10, this is 0.05. So you see what happens in the weighted score. Even though this is a 1, it has a weighted score equal to the one that got a 2. So if this was 0.02 and it had a rating of 4, what would be the weighted score? Right. If this was 0.02 and it had a rating of 4, what would be the weighted score? 0.08. So it means that even though it got a 4, it still doesn't have a rating as high as the 1, which is 0.10. Because the point that, what's your name? Because of the point Samantha made, it suggests that this has a much greater impact on the company, and it shows in the numbers. So it helps you in your analysis and your decision making. So picture you're a company and you're making decisions, and I'm sure from your accounting and finance you realize numbers don't always tell the tale. Numbers can be misleading. So we add weights to all of the matrices you're going to have for the next 2 weeks to identify which factors are most important. So this is an important tip for your exam and for your cases you will present tomorrow. So you can write it down. First, in constructing any matrix, EFE, CPM, IFE, you need to determine how important each opportunity, in the case of the EFE, you need to determine how important each opportunity and each threat would be. You need to determine first, even before you put it in a matrix, how important each of these is. So the way I suggest you do it, when you're working on your cases, this example has 8 opportunities. Just do a ranking from 1 to 8. 1 means this is the most important or will have the greatest impact, 8 being the least. You just rank them from 1 to 8. Yes, sir? When I say 1 means, your judgment from reading the case. So the case will give you information. I said this is for your case and the exam. So the case might say to you, right, that let's use this one, right? 30% of Chinese population can afford PCs. So the case might say to you that the business sector or internationally, companies are recognizing the importance, the significant importance of the Chinese population's growth, and in terms of the number of people who want to get PCs in their homes. So the case will actually tell you, so you're guided by what the case is saying to help you to come to the conclusion. Right? Or the case might say to you, if I look at the threats, and that's a very good question. His question was, how do you know how to rank them in terms of importance? So the case would say to you, in this industry, there is a lot of competition. And there are many companies competing and selling the same products, which tells you there's intense rivalry. You understand, folks? So allow the case to give you the information that you interpret to come to your conclusions as to what things are important. So I'm not looking for, so what is quite possible, not possible, what will happen, you could have 8 groups presenting the first case, and they have different things they consider important. So I'm not looking for everybody to come to the same things that are important. I want you to determine what your group considers important and justify it when you're presenting. And once you justify it, you get your marks. And I like it when groups come up with different things they consider important, and you bring your rationale, and you can refer to the case. Dr. Corbin on page 6 of the case, or 220 of the case, they say specifically, and that's why we consider this to be the most important, or second importance, or third importance. Right? So allow you to be creative and thinking. I don't want rote, I'm not looking for the right answer, I'm looking for your ability to think logically and analytically. And that's where you get your marks, even in the exam. And that's why so many students do so well. So they don't have to go in the exam and remember, okay, I learned this essay. This is what you normally do. You got the answers in your head going into the exam, and maybe economics and accounting, that might happen depending on which accounting course it is. Right? But you go in the exam with the essay in your head, and you remember, oh, yes, all right, I remember this. And yes, I remember that. And you just write the things you remember. What it doesn't happen in strategy the way the questions are structured. Because the question you remember in your head is not the question you were asked in the exam. So what we're doing here is preparing you for the exam.
Sir,
Yes?
you said you read some of the
Both opportunities and threats, yes.
So how do we know
But that's the question he asked us now.
I thought he was dealing with the reading.
He asked, how do you determine what is the most important this? And that's why they said you have to read the case. And the case then highlights issues surrounding a particular factor. And your group then has to determine, is this more important than the other? So I normally tell students for the case presentation, 5 is maximum. This has 8, it's too much, 5. So what he was saying, if intense rivalry is the most important factor in this EFE, the case will have to highlight. Remember, you have a case that is 15 to 20 pages. So the case will have to say within the case, there are many firms operating within this particular sector. They are highly competitive. There's little price variation. If I'm not telling you there's intense rivalry, you need now to understand from your knowledge of how the 5 forces work, that has to be the number one. You understand? And it applies to any other factors. Modernization of business firms and government agencies. The case will have to say to you if that is the most important. For the last 5 years, there has been a modernization of businesses or firms. Or firms have been upgrading themselves and government agencies have been updating themselves to get up-to-date technology, up-to-date systems. They might not say modern, but up-to-date systems or contemporary ways of operating the business.
So it doesn't have to be point 1, it can put it at.
But that's what I'm saying, you have to determine what the ratings are.
Put it at. Say put 1 at point 0.3. We actually do 0.0.
But it's nothing you have, but like I said before, different groups will have different ratings. So the ratings, I said, rate them first. So for each opportunity, for all of the opportunities, assume you have 5, do a rating from 1 to 5. And number 1 is what you're saying, this has the greatest impact or most important. Number 2 is second, third. And then you can then create the weight. So you can determine, okay, 0.30, because that is significant, and the others could be 0.05, 0.03, 0.01. If you're saying this one is so important, you want to give it a weighting of 0.35, 0.40, the rest of the opportunities will have to be very small, and therefore you have to make provision then for the threats. So it's a set of iterations, folks. At first, it might go to 1.3, and you just go and adjust. But once you do the rankings first from 1 to 5 for each opportunity, for all the opportunities and threats, you know that when the numbers are completely debating, it shows that the number 1 has the highest grade, number 2, and you just do the iterations and adjustments to make sure that if it is something that comes to 2, and you just bring it down, you might get it into 1.5, 1.5, 1.3, and just make the adjustment until it comes to 1. So that's weights. So there are 2 critical things you will have to do in interpreting an EFE. 1, which factor is most important, and 2, the rating which shows, yes, it shows how the company is responding to the particular opportunity, and that's how you would then allocate whether it is a poor response. And again, folks, it's your judgment based on your group analyzing and interpreting it, and the case again would give you the information how the company, you don't have to guess. If the case has no information on it, find another factor to use. So if you have 3 factors, folks, I'm comfortable with it, right? So you don't have to have 5 opportunities or 5 threats. You can have 5 opportunities and 3 threats, or 3 opportunities and 5 threats, but just look for the ones that the case support, that you are able then to read and find out how the company has been responding to the various opportunities or threats. So, in terms of your presentation, because there's a time limit, you cannot look at every single opportunity and threat in your analysis when you're presenting. So, say you have 5 or 4 opportunities and 4 threats and you're making your case presentation, you can identify the 2 most important items, X and X, and this is what we will analyze in our case presentation. So I don't expect you to look at all of the opportunities and threats when you're making your case presentation, the oral case in class. Right? You can just mention the ones that you want to focus on, and we can see, because it's oral and physical, and you have your visuals, and the students and I can see that you have done your calculations, etc. And if I have a question, I can just say, just go back to your PowerPoint, and I will just ask any questions of anything you didn't touch on. And then you calculate, you have your total weighted score, which says the company is operating, this company is operating above average. Right? This is an above average company. Right. That is your external factor evaluation matrix. If it is 4, it just suggests here it is outstanding in terms of its threats. That's an error, threats and opportunities. Any more questions on the EFE before I move to the CPM? Any more questions? No more questions on the EFE? All right, let's just take a little 5 minutes break, stretch the thing. Can this other door here be open? Somebody open that other door. Let's take a 5 minutes break, and when we come back, we'll look at the CPM, and then we wrap up. So 5 minutes only.